let's hear Tucker Carlson, speaking of which, now move into the next phase of his growth and evolution into a full-on white supremacist. And you know what's fascinating about this, right? We have two different things that are going on here. We have white supremacists, and then we have white supremacist ideology. And there's two different ways you can look at how we get more people falling into the category in this country of people who are willing to get a gun and go out with political motives to go shoot someone because they're an immigrant. Or they could be an immigrant, or they look like an immigrant, or whatnot. And you can either look at like everyone in the country lined up on one line, right? Like a gym class across the board. And they could all step to the right. Let's just look at it with the conservatives. They could all take 3 steps to the right. And the ideology is static. The ideology is the line, and how extreme you get and what extreme actions you're willing to take stay static and people move. Or you could look at it the opposite way, that people are static and the ideology floats and more people are embracing an ideology. And so watch the trick that Tucker Carlson does here, because he's going to talk about self-identified white supremacists and that it's a hoax because there's not many of them. What he's not talking about is that actually what's moved is the non-self-identified white supremacists are now bathing in this ideology. And as they bathe in it, the self-professed white supremacists have more license to take action because more people have embraced the ideology that inspires them.
But the whole thing is a lie. If you were to assemble a list, a hierarchy of concerns, of problems this country faces, where would white supremacy be on the list? Right up there with Russia, probably. It's actually not a real problem in America. The combined membership of every white supremacist organization in this country, would they be able to fit inside a college football stadium? I mean, seriously. This is a country where the average person is getting poorer, where the suicide rate is spiking. White supremacy, that's the problem. This is a hoax. Just like the Russia hoax. It's a conspiracy theory used to divide the country and keep a hold on power. That's exactly what's going on.
I wonder if you were to ask a Latino person, a person of color, a black person from Pakistan, if white supremacy is a hoax, if it's meaningless, if it makes a difference whether you could get 70,000 people who call themselves white supremacists into a football stadium. First of all, we found out it only takes one to take out 30 people. But that aside, and not just to take out 30 people, but to cause literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people to be terrified. But the idea is that what's happening is that we have structures in this country that allow for this. And the idea that it's a hoax, of course, I mean, now he's just denying. I didn't contribute to anything because it doesn't exist.
It's so creepy lately how he's been adopting some of the language of the left to make very reactionary points, right? Because he is naming real problems that exist. He's naming the opioid crisis, which is largely perceived as a white problem. He's naming people's immiseration and lack of jobs. And then he's saying the reason is the liberals are claiming that racism is a thing and it's dividing people, blah, blah, blah. When in fact, the real thing that's dividing people is racism itself, right? Like we talked about that the other day with the wages of whiteness and whatnot. Like it is a hoax of sorts, right? Designed by the ruling class to divide us from each other. And it's been working.
Tucker Carlson really making some hay out of that whole Russia hoax construction. It's just like that.